So we just wrapped up Ann Arbor about a month and a half ago. Did an incredible job, ironworker apprentice training initiative. We had contractors there. Tell us your impressions of that very, very important annual event.
Well, in 1989, I went as a participant, and it was an ironworker instructor event. And it's allowed us to self-help and stand up ironworkers to be able to deliver and transfer knowledge to the members. But where it's gone from then until now, from my first time setting foot in a train-to-trainer environment, you know, I couldn't be more proud of the fact that collectively we have old ironworker instructors taking on new courses or advanced courses. We have on-board or entry-level instructors, and we teach them the ability to transfer that knowledge. They may be subject matter experts, a really good welder, a really good rod buster, really good rigger, but until you go through some of those courses, it doesn't prepare you to be a structured instructor and have, you know, a really good polished presentation. There's new technology all the time introduced, from welding machines and equipment, and it's a place for everyone to gather and try the latest in plasma cutters or torches and welding machines, new welding rods, new different procedures. And that's evolved into something that Lee Worley and the training department does really well. But as you know, the National Fund does one portion of that, and then Impact decided that we would have a whole contractor course curriculum. And to involve the employers for training and the apprenticeship instructors, it kind of ties everything together because that's the industry. And then we felt like that wasn't enough, and so we bring a lot of our labor leaders in, and we have district council presidents training and staff meetings. And then in addition, we added this year the various labor lawyers and trust attorneys, and they had a collection and gathering. And it's everyone that's an industry stakeholder and our plant professionals coming together. And there's a lot of energy to feed off of that, and it's good energy. It's for the contractors. It might be taking some downstream folks and working them up for succession planning within the company. It's entry-level ironworkers who aspire to be entrepreneurs, and they want to get the basics, the business basics down. They got the ironworking basics mastered, and now that they have that hunger to go into business. And so every year I leave, you know, it's been in Washington, it's going to continue there through our contract of next couple of years. You feed off that energy, and you know, to be able to have employers there, and to have our legal counsel there, and to have our leaders of our district councils there, and everyone planning and self-improving. It's a really positive feel.
It really is incredible. You know, number one, it's natural that people want to matriculate to Ann Arbor for that enhanced learning opportunity. But you had nearly 600 ironworker instructors and, like you said, people coming up. We had over 170 contractor representatives taking everything from Blue Beam to advanced project management to business fundamentals. It's really an incredible event.
And the contractors, I've seen some really experienced folks taking on new initiatives on behalf of their company because we're offering it collectively. And they see that, boy, Impact's really making a difference in our business model.
Yeah. I was very heartened to hear one of our contractors say that after having started taking those classes in Ann Arbor, he had tripled his business. That's where the rubber meets the road.
And then, you know, I probably overuse this data set, but, you know, with the baby boomer mass exodus, we have a lot of experienced instructors and a lot of experienced contractors leaving.
Right.
So it gives us the ability to stand up and resupply our trainers and our contractor community, so we got that next generation. So
I think you could just visually note the demographic change this year. Let me ask you this, without diminishing other efforts by other organizations, does everybody do something like that?
You know, all the trades have train-to-trainer resupply, but I don't think I think we're the tip of the spear as far as this contractor development course, and a lot of people marvel and continually ask me questions about how did you come about that? And I said, you know, because we meet with our impact board, it's a labor management board, we all honestly assessed our industry and recognized that while baby boomers made up a majority of the workforce and the contractor community, the contractors even trended a little older into some of the traditionalist generation. And there was an urgency about having continuation of those companies. There's no ever-ending supply of people waiting to sign signatory contracts. That's something the unions do independently through organizing. And but you're seeing a wholesale change of that transformation of who's in charge of various companies. And by going to those and having those functions, we're getting to meet many of the employers' downstream folks who are going to be our next generation decision makers that we either collectively bargain with or we go arm in arm to try and improve market share, and you know, they want to have a growth strategy in their business.
You know, I think just to kind of close out on the same topic, and you mentioned something very, very important, is the next generation contractor leadership that is going to assume the role. And, you know, their first impression is sitting at the big boy table, coming to Ann Arbor. They see these incredible assembly of iron workers that are upping their game, and then they're seeing the investment made in their own human capital to bring this whole industry further down the road. It's really incredible.
Well, Executive Director Worley often galvanizes the statistics and brings them together. And we spend $90 million in aggregate through our training through the United States and Canada. When you go there, you get to see the best that our instructors and our training programs have to offer. And every one of them is either improving or upping their game, and or they're onboarding, and the younger people actually are more technologically savvy, and they're thirsty, and they want to be the next generation of knowledge transfer folks. You know, training has really evolved, and it used to be in the back of a union hall, and it was more on the job training. But we really rely on a lot of, you know, curriculum, and every time we demonstrate the curriculum, like I said, it's just it's a really positive. It's that midsummer energy boost that I get coming from the collective, from all those folks that are doing. And they're not just doing apprenticeship training too. We're doing a lot of journeyman retraining with the evolution of new safety certifications.
CWIs.
Yeah. Oh, and we had I went in 1989 to become a certified welding inspector for my local. I was successful. So I'm really proud of that fact that I was one of the first ironworker self-taught CWIs. Now it's very commonplace, but back then I was literally the first to report, not the only, but the first one to go to, at that time, San Diego, take the courses and satisfactorily pass the AWS. Since my involvement here in Washington as General Secretary, along with President Wise, we recognized that we had a U.S. component. We were doing nothing for the Canadian side, so we've implemented the Canadian Welding Bureau portion as well. And you know, we want to make sure we're serving both countries and delivering top-notch welding instruction, but there was subtle differences on how you certify welders.
But you know, you hit on something. You said it's very common for iron workers to go and earn their CWI or a CWB if they're Canadian. I don't think the wider industry knows that. I mean, there are hundreds of iron workers that are certified welding inspectors that, you know, in my travels, it's looked upon as a very high level, and it is. I've talked to the guys who've taken the classes and passed a very rigorous test. That's something to be proud of.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt. And having worker-ready, certified welders ready for dispatch when they're unemployed that we can send to another employer and they don't have to wait. They're ready to go, and they're under a welding hood on the first day. And you know, as soon as there's welding for them to do, they come with those skills ready to go.